Spotify just updated their terms of service for everybody that uses the platform and uploads their music to it. Now, the entire industry lost their minds, bedroom independent producers alike, all the way up to the top executives in the industry were just going completely batshit over this. Now, it's understandable because on the forefront, when you look at it on the surface, it looks like they're saying everything that you upload onto this platform, we could do whatever the hell we want to do with it. But when you dig a little bit deeper, there's a lot of misinformation that's going around online that I kind of want to clear up for you guys today. So first off, let's give some context around why they even decided to update the terms. There was these AI music generative companies like Suno and Udio that were scraping all the music off of Spotify and then training their AI models on it, which is obviously not something that Spotify wants, or really anybody wants that are the creators of that music or the owners of the rights of that music. So what they put in this new terms of service is basically saying, hey, we prohibit anybody from training an AI model on anything that is inside of Spotify or scraped out of Spotify. So that's first things first. That's the context of all this. So we can see right here, they restrict third-party data use while expanding internal data rights for proprietary AI development. Now, this is where it starts to get a little tricky, right? So they're basically saying, hey, nobody else can train their AI models on the stuff that's inside of our platform. However, we need to have the right to train our AI model on all the stuff that gets uploaded into Spotify. Now, that raised some massive red flags. Now, the biggest piece of misinformation going around is that Spotify can train their AI on your music. So if you upload a song into Spotify, Spotify now has the right to be able to train their AI model on your music. That's just not true. So you can see here, Spotify will create AI clones of your voice and style based on your uploaded music, and they'll use all your music and your voice and all that to train their AI song generative model and steal everything about you. It's just not true. Basically, in the terms of service, they make a clear distinction between user content and content. So music files are licensed through separate distributor agreements, not user terms. So Spotify doesn't have the right to be able to train anything on the music content that's in there, primarily because the people that own that are what's called copyright holders. So they own the rights to that music, and just uploading a song into Spotify does not just give them the right to go train their AI on the music that gets uploaded. That's just completely not true. Another thing that's getting pushed around is that Spotify now owns your songs in perpetuity. Artists have lost all control over their music due to these new terms. Also not true. There's no change to music ownership or streaming rights just based off of this new terms of service. You still retain all of your ownership, and that completely remains unchanged. You retain ownership of your user content. They explicitly state this in the terms of service. Another one was they can remix your work without permission. So they could use their AI remix tool to take your music and remix it. So the idea was Spotify can now create and sell remixes of your songs without paying you. So they would just create remixes using your music, and then they would go put it on playlists, and they would keep all the money. Also not true. Derivative works refers to content you upload to the platform. So playlist covers, profile photos, descriptions, and messages, all the stuff that is kind of like your name and likeness that goes into Spotify. Yeah, they can use, and they can use it to freely market or take any, design of artwork and go do whatever they want with that, but not the actual music. And that is the part that I'm really trying to drive home here. They can't do anything with your music that they couldn't before. So let's look at the actual clause here that got everybody freaked out. So you hereby grant to Spotify a non-exclusive, transferable, sub-licensable, royalty-free, fully paid, irrevocable, worldwide license to reproduce, make available, perform and display, translate, modify, create derivative works from, distribute, and otherwise use any such user content through any medium. So people basically were just thinking that this meant all the music that I upload and everything that I upload into Spotify, they can do whatever the hell they want with. And this is the big key word here we need to really look at, though, is user content. So what is user content? It is specifically, as stated in the terms of service, this: playlist covers and artwork, profile photos and bios, playlist titles and descriptions, messages and comments. But what isn't user content is your music files and recordings and content delivered via distributors / labels. If you're an independent artist, that's like DistroKid or TuneCore, right? So no, your music not covered under user content. So this does not apply to it over here. There was also this moral rights clause. It said, you agree to waive and not to enforce any moral rights or equivalent rights, such as your right to be identified as the author of any user content and your right to object to derogatory treatment of such user content. What are moral rights? Non-economic rights that connect creators to their work. So being identified as the creator, preventing distortion of your work, and the right to object to derogatory treatment. So Spotify can modify all the user content. So basically everything that you do on that platform and upload to it that's not the music, without having to attribute you as the original creator. That is kind of like a red flag, right? It is kind of, there might be some situations where if you upload artwork or you have a playlist bio or your bio or a picture of you, if they really wanted to, could make some crazy disparaging thing about it, and you could not really do anything about it. You can't sue them or something. So yeah, that sucks. Now let's go to the AI training restrictions here. So third-party restrictions. This is like they don't want Suno and Udio training on the music that gets uploaded to Spotify. So do not use the Spotify platform or any Spotify content to train a machine learning or AI model. So external developers like Suno can't do anything with the stuff. But this also raises the flag and concern of Spotify has their internal rights. They can use your personal data to develop and train their own models. And this is under the kind of guise of it's going to help to improve the app overall, improve recommendations, their AI DJ thing they're doing in their AI playlists. They can use voice data, listening history, and engagement patterns. So this is basically them trying to be able to use all the stuff that's not the music, but everything else that gets uploaded to basically improve their algorithm for the users that are using the app so that they have a better experience. User content is playlist titles, descriptions, and cover images, profile photos, bio information, comments, and messages posted on Spotify that you do. Now, the music files are a completely separate story, and they don't have any right to do really much with these except have them be streamed on the platform. Something else I want to point out is that pretty much all other music streaming platforms have very similar language in their agreements. So key takeaway is that all major platforms use similar broad licensing language for user-generated content. Spotify's terms are not uniquely aggressive, but they reflect an industry trend toward platforms restricting third-party data while expanding internal use of that data. So we had the initial panic from artists and musicians. It was a whole bunch of misinterpretations, basically led some artists to remove music from Spotify, and everybody started boycotting Spotify. And, I was already kind of like on that train anyways, because they don't pay you shit for the streams. And you could do a direct to consumer model where you could probably make a lot more money. Platforms like that are good examples are like Even. And you basically can set your own price for what you want people to pay for your music. And I think that's a really cool way to kind of get out of the rat race of trying to chase down, getting 10 million streams to try to be able to pay your rent, The key misconception to point out is that most of these negative reactions came from confusion about what user content was in this terms of service update. What the difference was between user content and music distributed through labels, distributors, and even independent distributors like DistroKid and TuneCore, which is what independent artists use. They cannot use that music to do much, really anything with. Overall, the big blanket reason why they decided to push out this update is because they're trying to basically stomp out competition of any other AI companies that are trying to use what's on their platform to make their platform better than it is. Suno and Udio are the main ones where it's like If Spotify takes away the right for them to train on songs that are on Spotify, then those things are not going to be as good because they don't have as much music to train on, right? And so the idea is like, hey, let's stop all these other companies from being able to train on our own shit, and then also increase our ability to be able to train on the stuff that gets uploaded into our platform. That's their kind of goal with all this. I'm the first one to say that Spotify is trash and I don't like how they do business and how artists get compensated from the platform. But at the same time, let's not just go so hard to the fact that we're being delusional about what's going on right now. All right, guys, I hope you got some value out of this and now you have a better understanding of what's really going down with Spotify. If you did, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm dropping videos all the time. And as always, leave a comment on this video with a question about anything regarding music or sync licensing or whatever you want. And I'll make a video about it responding to you. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.